Indy, why does the floor move?
Give me your torch.
A tradition that we have in the Indy series is one of creepy crawlies, of things that makes you shudder and get a little creeped out. The first one we had snakes, the second one we had bugs, and the third one we had rats.
Oh, God, what is this?
There's a big snake in the plane, Jacques!
Oh, that's just my pet snake, Reggie.
I hate snakes, Jacques! I hate them!
Indiana Jones has one almost pathological fear, and it is a fear of snakes. And so it had to be part of the story.
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
When I came up with the idea that he had to have a phobia and the phobia should be snakes, I only said snakes because I had just recently read a list of the top 10 phobias. I think snakes was number 3. And I think public speaking was number 1. And I remember bringing that to the story meeting when we met with Larry Kasdan and said, why don't we give him a phobia, he's afraid of snakes. So I was always looking for opportunities to bring the snakes back.
I've seen people that just cannot be on the set when we bring a snake on. They just can't physically allow themselves to suffer what's going on in their bodies, and they just remove themselves.
Feel this, feel it, feel the skin. It's like kosher delicatessen food.
I think I was able to suggest snakes as Indy's phobia because I'm fine with snakes. I was raised in Arizona. We had snakes, in our house. They would just come out of the desert and somehow get into the house. So snakes were something that I never had a problem with.
Mike Culling was the animal trainer on the first 3 movies, and I've had the great pleasure of working on the last 2. And of course, Mike Culling's work with the snakes on Indiana 1 is the envy of every reptile enthusiast around the world. That is the stamp. That is the one, that's the golden orb. That's what everyone is striving for, to get that one job.
Well, honestly, when I read the script, I never really thought about it one way or another. It seems a funny thing to say, but it didn't occur to me that we were going to have like thousands of snakes around us. And I think maybe the first time I said something to Steven about it, he said, oh, well, we're going to have these mechanical snakes, and it's, And once we started shooting the film, it became clear right away the mechanical snakes didn't work, that they didn't look like real snakes. And so they had to immediately abandon that. And all of a sudden, while we were at Elstree Studio in London, this call went out for 4,000 or 5,000 more snakes.
Get on it right now and get as many snakes here as you can within the shortest period of time. He says we get 5,000 from Hollywood in 2 or 3 days.
And all of these snake wranglers started to come in, and suddenly there were thousands and thousands of snakes on the set.
We had dozens of these containers full of all manner of snakes. We were working with, I think, as many as 8,000 to 10,000 snakes. Thousands of which, by the way, escaped each day through cracks and crevices. So they were constantly being renewed.
A lot of them were quite harmless snakes. They weren't even true snakes. A lot of what we worked with were actually lizards that are called glass snakes. And you can literally stick your finger in their mouth and they won't bite you.
Some of them are called glass snakes. They're actually a legless lizard. And they're actually a lizard. They get about 3 feet long. It's a European one. They get about that fat and about 3 feet long. And they are a lizard because they blink. Snakes don't blink. So you look at it and say, is it a snake? Blink. It's a lizard. We're okay. We're going to live. Now this is the Burmese python. And this is the same species that actually came out through the skull. This one weighs only about 25, maybe 30 pounds. But after 10 minutes of holding this snake, it gets a lot heavier. Pythons are actually very nice to work with. They're pretty docile by nature. Most of them being homegrown, they're born in captivity.
And we had some cobras that had to be handled very, very carefully. People think you can detox cobras, but you can't.
The only time I really felt a little bit in danger was when we had the cobras on the set, and you saw everybody get very serious. And we had to have the anti-venom there and an ambulance, and everybody really paid attention when the cobras came on the set.
The big event is the cobra that pops up in front of Indiana Jones. I mean, I think that is just fabulous. Cobras are my favorite snakes. These are the one snake that says, you know, surprise! Everybody hates that. They love it, but they hate it. But cobras are very polite. They'll stand up and tell you I'm here, and you kind of respect that. They're probably one of the easiest snakes to work with if you have a cobra that wants to hold his ground. There are cobras that hold their ground, and they'll hood up and stand and stare at you. That's the one that's perfect for what you need, especially for the movies. Everywhere you move, the cobra will follow you. So you can see the back of him, and then you walk around behind the camera, and he'll follow you. And you get a bit closer, and he goes like that. And if you don't take the warning, they will kill you. Indiana Jones, the first one, of course, they use spiders as well. Another one of these freaky animals that are on the top of the list of scary things that people don't like. And spiders are actually interesting to work with. And they're actually very delicate. First of all, spider tools. Aha! And we'll just take this one right here. That's a shed skin. Here we go, here we go, there you go. And that is what steps out. Now he's a Mexican South American tarantula. You blow on his butt and he goes that direction. And you have to be very careful. You can't put too many spiders together and let them get comfortable, because they cannibalize each other.
There's something on the ground.
Feel I step on fortune cookies.
In the Temple of Doom, of course, instead of snakes, they went with bugs. Another one of those things that really scare the bejesus out of a lot of people. And there's just some horrendous looking bugs in there.
That's no cookies.
One of them was actually a Malaysian stick insect. They're called a leaf bug as well. It won't bite you, but it looks like it should hurt you terribly. It's a big bug. There's black-headed centipedes, which really hurt, and they're very fast. And there's tons of stuff. There's Madagascar cockroaches, beetles of every assorted type.
Get some of that. Okay, action on the bugs.
I would say the most difficult of the three elements, snakes, bugs, or rats, were actually the bugs, because they're totally uncontrollable. But the bugs, they did creep you out, because they have those little things that get down your back and they get in your hair, and it just doesn't feel too good.
And cut. Okay, run in there, Mike. Well, the problem with bugs is, you know, they're fast and they're small and they can escape. So it was very hard for us to keep the bugs in the confines of the set, the very small set we had built. You know, the bugs would literally be 25% less every day we shot. And they would escape onto the real estate of Elstree Studios, and then they'd eventually get into probably the ecosystem of the surrounding communities. And by the last day of shooting, we only had 25% of our bugs left.
Okay, we got to get Robert down here. We don't have enough bugs to make the scene work.
It's actually quite funny, because people say, I want the bug to come from here to there, and go up there, and it's like, it's a bug. It's got the brain the size of a grain of sand if you're lucky, you know. You can actually manipulate them a little bit if you touch them on the back. Sometimes they keep moving, and you're pretty much stuck right there. In The Last Crusade, I was actually hired on as one of the reptile wranglers.
They're moving, so we pan down with you. So there is movement.
So we delivered, I think it was like 4 or 5 alligators.
I got this guy here trying to eat them.
14 or 1,500 snakes, giant lizards, giant tortoises. This is all in the train. And of course, then we turned up with the lion. And this is where we put River Phoenix, set him in a box, and we put a couple of thousand rubber snakes underneath him, and he was sitting on a bucket with snakes all over him. And then on rolling, I poured 1,000 garter snakes on him. And then on action, I dumped another 400 or 500 on his head. And these are garter snakes. They're like this real wiggly little boogers. They're all over the place. And we had like 9 people catching snakes off the camera, you know. And he goes, ah! It's a great job.
Oh, rats.
On The Last Crusade, they had rats, tons and tons of rats in the crypt, you know, all running through the water and stuff.
Can we put a few on that skeleton crawling around the guy hanging down on his head, neck, and rib cage?
I like rats, and we actually bred those rats in captivity. Those were like a couple thousand rats that were literally bred for, you know, reasons of health. The rats were bred just to be in that one scene.
For the Raiders, I was asked to get 20,000 snakes, and for Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, I was asked to get 50,000 bugs, and for this one, The Last Crusade, I was asked to get 1,000 of these sewer rats, which gradually changed over the months until the start of filming in June '88. We then had to have 5,000.
Put them on the floor and go that way. Rats are very, very easy. They're very intelligent. Within 3 weeks, you can have rats running from A to B over a period of 15, 20, 30 feet to a buzzer. It's like calling the dog, dinner, clang, clang, dog comes in. Rats do the same thing. So the rats work for their dinner, their lunch, their breakfast, snacks in between. And if you have the set, if the set is built, you just practice on the set every day. You just go down there and you do this same routine probably 5, 6 times a day.
We gave him bugs, snakes, and now rats. What do we do for Indy 4?
And in the fourth one, we have a new added element that is in line with the other 3 movies. But that's all I can tell you.
Well, I don't know if it's much bigger and much scarier. It could be smaller and much scarier. I don't know. It's up to the audience. We just throw this stuff out there and hope that some of it sticks to the wall.